Going live here. All right. Hello, everyone, and good morning. We are live here on Facebook and YouTube, and I am back from vacation. I had a really nice little break, and I'm excited to get back into the swing of things. And thank you so much for joining me here live or the replay. Please let me know in the comments if you're joining live or you're watching the replay. I always love to see who sees these live streams. We're going to talk about play strong. Is your body ready for summer? I'm Liz Philippone. I help people stay strong, confident, and independent by combining evidence-based training with mindful movement and nervous system support. And I'm just telling you, my approach here focuses on building resilience, not perfection. We're not trying to perfect anything by any means. We are just trying to be more resilient with the setbacks that happen in life, especially as we get older, past 40 years old, right? So if you're watching this and this rings true for you, or maybe this rings true for somebody else in your life, please share it. Also, subscribe. Yeah. Hi, Liz. Thanks for joining me. I always appreciate it. And here we go. We're going to get started. And thank you so much for your flexibility. I know sometimes we can't always make these lives, when they happen. We might have to watch the replay, but, here I am in the morning now, at least for a little while until the schedule changes again. But hey, so's life, right? Okay, so just a quick opening question for all of you out there who are watching. When you think about summer, what's one activity you look forward to the most? And I'm going to give you a few examples, but what comes to mind? So I'm just going to give you a moment there to think about that while I sip my matcha tea here. What do you look forward to, right? I look forward to a lot of things. I love swimming, number one. But maybe some other things that you look forward to are gardening, being outside, right? Gardening, you love tending to your garden, playing with your grandchildren or children. Beach days, that is totally me. I am so pumped for the beach when the summer hits. Walking outdoors, hiking, pickleball. Maybe you're an athlete, right? And you love that pickleball or other physical activity sports, traveling, festivals, right? So I'm going to come back to and read these in the comments throughout today's live, or even just throughout today. So please answer. What's one activity you look forward to the most in summer? And, this month, this is the topic. I want to talk about, are we ready for summer, for July? I mean, summer really hit in June, and I did talk a lot about that travel last month. And I'm going to talk a little bit about summer, because let's face it, summer just naturally gets us moving more. Do you agree? For me, I want to do more. I want to socialize more. Things like that. I want to go somewhere, right? More. So it's the season. This is the season where we want to spend time outside, visit family, explore new places, and stay active longer, right? Because if you live in the Northeast like me, you only have like a few months of that. I would say like a few months. And then, it changes right away, which I don't want to think about right now. I want to stay more present here. So we often think we need to exercise more in order to enjoy these things, right? But I think we need to shift this question a little bit. So instead of saying, am I exercising enough? Maybe ask, is my body ready for the life I want to live, right? Whether it's summer, fall, winter, whatever, okay? So asking yourself that, instead of, am I exercising enough? Like, I have been asking myself that question for the past month. Am I? I don't know. I mean, I teach classes. So yeah, I'm moving, but when I teach classes, it's not really for me, it's for the participants. I'm not teaching classes for me to get a workout. I'm teaching classes for other people to get the benefit of the movement, right? So I have been asking myself, am I exercising enough? Recently, I told myself I need more cardio. I need more aerobic activity for me, not for other people. So I'm starting to walk, doing walking intervals, right? Because and for me, it's more about that heart health, right? As I get into I'm in my late 40s and beyond. When I get, and I want to get into that habit of maintaining aerobic activity, whether it's walking, low impact HIIT workouts that I do here in my studio, or even at the gym that I work at. There's machines there that I can utilize, right? If the weather's bad. So that's something that, I was questioning myself, but just, and I hate to go off the topic here, but I think it's important because I love going to festivals and I want to go sightseeing at really cool places, future travel. So my whole purpose of adding more cardio and aerobic activity is not necessarily to lose weight, although that is a benefit, right? You do lose weight, maintain weight, whatever, but it's also that heart health. It's that endurance, right? Because we forget the heart is actually a muscle, right? So Liz writes, let's see. I'm well over 40 and travel. Had quite few setbacks. You're always helped me work through them. Oh, now it's in the midst of another arthritis in my big toe joint. Oh man, Liz, I'm sorry to hear that. I have arthritis here in my hand. I know I do. And that's, it's one of the things, right, that comes up, especially as we get older, is arthritis, right? It's a natural thing that happens, right? And it's the wear and tear of all the things we did before, and now we're feeling it now, but we can maintain it, right? So thank you for sharing that. I really appreciate it. And we can talk more about that, Liz, for sure. Yeah, find ways to help you out with that. Okay. So strength isn't just about muscles. Okay. You want to be strong for the summer, play strong. It's not just about the muscles. Okay. Having strength gives us confidence. It gives us energy, endurance, balance, independence, resilience. And I added this one in here, cognitive health. Okay. Strength training is very connected to brain activity and brain health. Okay. Gripping is a cognitive element, a piece of cognitive health. Gripping things, gripping weights or whatever, right? Whether it's a rake or a shovel. I mean, it's about that too. So it isn't about becoming a bodybuilder or popping your muscles and looking all trim and cut. It's to feel capable. Okay, the goal is to feel capable here. And we want to train for life, not just the gym. That's my philosophy these days is, looking back, when I used to do these crazy workout programs with Beachbody, they're called Body now, BODI. And I'm going to say, I am grateful for them. I'm grateful for that company because it did introduce me to fitness. It introduced me to different things that I can do with my body that helps it get stronger, more flexible, things like that. I liked how I looked, but that was the thing is that, this is my opinion only, and I'm not bad mouthing Body at all because I think their programs are great. But for me, it was like looking back, they fixated a lot on how you looked, right? You'd see these before and after photos of people, which was amazing. And I was part of that too. I would submit before and after photos, and I was amazed at how the difference I looked, right? But I got fixated on how I looked. And that's just not, for me, is not sustainable anymore. I can't focus on the way I look anymore. And that is something I'm just going to admit I'm struggling with right now, because my body is changing and in appearance, certain areas of my body. And I'm just like, okay. But I go back to, I'm so much stronger than I was, right? I have strength, I have mobility. I go back to that. I go back to the things that I can do. So we want to train for life. We don't want to just train just the gym, just go to the gym, go to classes, whatever. Of course, classes are fun because you get that social community, right? But I just wanted to say that as we get older, we should start thinking about, gosh, I want to train for my life so I'm stronger and I can do all the things I want to do. So, just like that question I asked about, what do you look forward to in the summer? And what do you look forward to in seasons, right? Any season, right? I'm not going to mention other seasons. I want to just be in summer right now. So here we go. So let's train for life here. Now, if you're driving or if you're, you can't do that, I'm just going to give you some examples. I'm going to show you some examples. And yeah, let me get my bench. I forgot to put my bench out. So I'm going to disappear from the screen for a second. Okay, here's my bench. We're not going to do any bench presses or anything like that. It's really to just demonstrate sit to stand. I know I've demonstrated this before, but I want to reiterate something, is that sit to stand. It's not just a squat. Although it is a squat, it's not just about a squat. It's about, whether this is lower or higher, it's about getting out of a beach chair, getting into your beach chair, right? Because I told you, I'm all about the beach, right? I also have to carry a lot of stuff too to the beach, right? I want to be able to be strong to carry stuff, although they have these great wagons now, right? But anyway, carry stuff and be able to get into that chair and get out of the beach chair. What else? Standing up from the garden, right? You're in there, you're down there, you're down into your garden area, right? And you are down here, right? And you got to get back up, right? I definitely, when I was doing some leading and I'm in that fixed squat position, yeah, it gets a little hairy when you have to get out of that squat position. But even simply just getting off the couch, right? Because when you think of certain seats, your couch, your recliner, kitchen chairs, and then what I said before, beach chairs, your gardening and stuff like that, it's important to be able to be mobile and strong doing those things, right? Another one is the farmer's carry, right? It's not just about carrying weights, right? You're carrying the weights. Obviously, when you're training with the farmer's carry move, right? You're holding like 2 weights in your hand. You're walking, a certain distance. Maybe you're marching in place, but it's not just about the weights, right? I'm not just carrying the weights. What does that transfer to? Can anybody tell me? They do this in those countries, those blue zones, right? Still, in Italy, these 70, 80-year-old people are carrying buckets of water, like up and down hills, right? Because they go to that fresh well. It still happens today. But it's for, carrying groceries, coolers, right? And of course, coolers, yeah, we got the nice wheels, right? But some of us, I still have the handle, the cooler, especially when I go to the beach, I'm gonna have a small cooler I bring. You gotta hold that, right? Laundry baskets, suitcases, right, when you travel. That's what the farmer's carry trains you for life for, okay? And then there's the step up, right? If you've ever taken a step class, right? I'm sure we all have here, whoever's watching, right? We've taken a step class maybe once in our lives, or maybe more. Maybe you used to do that a lot. Step ups, it's not just going up, you're doing this motion, but it's so important for your hiking, right? If you love to hike, you want to go on excursions. I asked a question. Okay, I'm going to just go off for a second, this for a moment, because this just came to me. In my Facebook group, Mindfully Fit for Life, I asked a question, I think it was last week, saying, oh gosh, what did I ask? I wonder if I can find it. Hang on a second, because I feel like this is really important. Could you comfortably walk 2 to 3 hours sightseeing? I asked people to say yes or maybe not. Choose one. A lot of people, some people said yes, absolutely. Some people were not sure. Some people said, no way, I wish I could. Some people said, not right now, right? Because they're dealing with something. But there were definitely yeses, right? I loved that. There were definitely yeses, but I did pay attention to those, the people who said, maybe slowly I could do it, it's like, for me, it's like when you hear that question, like, do you pause? Do you hesitate? And there might be something happening, like Liz, I know you shared, you have this arthritis in your toe that you are dealing with right now. But, it feels so much more better, right? When you can say, yeah, with confidence, you're like, yeah, I can totally walk for 2 to 3 hours on an excursion, right? On a hike somewhere in Europe, on uneven terrain. I don't know. So it's those things, right? That's what I'm talking about. Training for life. You want to go on, somebody asks you, you have a bunch of friends, you want to get together, go on a trip, right? It involves a lot of walking. Like, that would be really great, right? To just be like, hell yeah. To be able to say hell yeah, as opposed to, I have to think about this, I'm not sure. I'm not thinking about the financial thing or that. I'm thinking about, like, am I strong enough to be able to do that? Okay. So those are just a few examples I wanted to share. The sit to stand, the farmer's carry, and the step up, right? Those are also important to train for life. So I'm going to ask you another question. What activity do you never want to give up? So share that in the comments, even if you're watching the replay. I want to know. And so with that activity, I'm going to ask you one more question. If that activity became harder to do tomorrow, what movement could you start practicing today to keep doing it? And Liz, I'm so glad you're listening to this. And you don't have to answer it right now. Maybe write those things down and journal it out, right? Journal it out. I think it's a really good question. I'm going to do this myself too, to ask yourself that. Like, okay, what activity do I never want to give up? And if that activity became harder tomorrow for me, what movement could I start practicing today to keep doing it? And if you don't know, that's okay. But I think it's important to really go inward. Now, not going on Google, not going on AI, ChatGPT, which is very helpful, by the way, but really finding that answer within yourself, I think is very important. That's about resilience. That is definitely about resilience. Okay. All right. So I invite you to choose one of those summer activities that I mentioned. Okay, I have a couple things. I'm going to close this live down in a moment, but I'm going to invite you to choose one of those summer activities I mentioned at the beginning of this live stream. Gardening, walking, what was it? Kayaking, playing with grandchildren, dancing, beach walking. I know those aren't right. Pickleball, travel, festivals. Okay, I want you to pick, just choose any one summer activity and then write this down. You're going to journal this. I know I'm giving you all these journaling things, but hey, this is what I like to do. This summer, I want my body to help me blank. All right. So you're going to choose a summer activity, and then you're going to finish this sentence. This summer, I want my body to help me. And then you finish from there. Okay. So we don't build strength just to exercise. Okay. Not just to exercise. I know that sounds silly, but it's true, right? We build strength so we can say yes to life. Hell yes. With confidence. Every squat, every walk, every balance exercise is preparing you for the moments that matter most. So, I've been doing a lot of work here on the side to create, I talked about, my Power Up My Strength program and how I'm exploring an opportunity to bring in an in-person experience for it. Even if you are a part of the program or you've done it, I encourage you to try it try it, maybe invite somebody that who could benefit from it for a 2.5-hour workshop that I narrowed it down. I was saying half-day workshop. I was saying multi-week class series. I was saying full-day workshop. We're going to break it down like 2.5 hours of your time for an in-person experience of the elements that I teach in my 12-week Power Up Your Strength program. Okay. So I want you to comment, if you are interested in this. I'm trying to get an idea of how many people would like to do this. In fact, I know all those ones can sound kind of intimidating time-wise. This is only going to be a 2.5-hour workshop. So I want you to comment strong, STRONG, if you're interested. And I know some of you are already interested. I'm trying to get more here because this is something that is important to me. And also it's important for you to learn. This is going to be foundational work, but it's going to be fun because you're going to be with people too doing this, right? You're not going to just be online. You're not going to be by yourself. You're going to be doing this with other people. It's going to be a workshop. It's going to be trying this, trying that. And it's going to be super, super fun. So share this live stream with people. If this really rang true for you, share it. Hit that share button. Send it, text it, email it, share it on your socials. If this really spoke to you or it's going to speak to somebody else, please share it. So let me know in the comments if you are interested in this 2.5-hour workshop. I'm looking into the fall for this, right? Because I am still making changes. I'm still creating things and the formatting and all of that stuff. So it's going to be in Albany. I just haven't picked the location yet. I have a couple locations in mind, but it's going to be in Albany. So please let me know in the comments if you're interested. All right, and that's it. That is the end of the live stream. Thank you so much for joining me, and I will talk to you soon. Thanks, everyone.